Hey everyone, so I figured today we'd do a little bit of body work on the car. On the Caprices, they don't really make lower patch panels for the bottom of the quarters. So your options are buy a whole quarter, which is, gonna be from up here and to all the way down the side and to the tail light. They're about $900 and it's ridiculous. The only part I need is right there. So I'm gonna make it. It's not very hard. It's actually, I find metalwork quite easy. But I'm gonna show you how to do it all. What tools you're gonna need, which is really just I prefer to use the angle grinder, die grinder actually, with a rubber backed with a twist lock disc on it, and cut off wheel, welder, some sheet metal, some body hammers. Get them over here. I like things that come in cases. I keep them in the case as much as humanly possible. Let's see. I believe this is my body hammer set. Yeah, body hammers. Hammer and dolly. If you didn't know what I meant by body hammers, hammer and dolly set. We'll be using them to shape that piece. I'm going to get a better light setup, taking a break from the sub box. I only got like, 2 fingers left on this hand from sanding that thing so much. But it's coming together. But now let's I'm going to get a light set up on this so that way you can see better. And we'll start from there. The first thing you want to do is assess the damage, which you really can't see because it's pretty dusty, rusty. But back through here, if you feel, it's smooth. It's not, loose, crunchy, or anything like that. But up here, I'm pretty sure you heard that. It's pretty bad. But we're just going to start with this for a second just to show. Now, most people would say that you would just cut here and here to try to replace. You go to the edge of the rust. But the rule is to go an inch past the rust, which would be about that far. Let's see here. About right here. About right here. Then we go under inch, above an inch. But what I'm feeling is over here is probably about gone too. Again, they don't make this as a patch panel, which is bad for my situation here. So I'm going to have to make it. I've tried to buy them online used, cut off the car, and they were $100, and that's ridiculous. So, alright. To test and see how far it actually goes instead of just cutting it, I'm going to use my roll lock to grind down the area. Not real worried about this chrome right here because I'm taking it off anyway. I never did like that stuff. Let me see if I can't find a rag. Get all that dust off. And just like usual, there it is. So you can see where we're at with that. As you can see, I've done the inch pass there. Let me get a close up on it there for you. Just the camera a little bit. Oh, fell off. There we go. Now you can see a little better. But it looks like, yeah, this over here is starting to rust through a little bit. You can see how thin it is by the other part, but it's actually pretty thick over here. So I think what I was feeling was just nasty paint where it had bubbled up. Just in a couple spots. So grind that the rest of the way off by the edge there. Yeah, there's some holes there. Oh, it's packed full right there too. Let me see. That's all crusty rust in there. Oh yeah. I feel like somehow there's some dirt in there. I don't know, it's up in the trunk, you know how that is. Yeah, it's pretty dirty. Let me see here. The backside's real good though. So it's just the front. See how far up it goes. Hate rust. Hate rust, hate rust. That's that 91 paint. It's pretty strong. Almost smells like burnt sugar. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, right there's a hole. I think it's all the way up into here before when it stops it's about right there. So, let's see here. I'm getting a spray bottle with some soapy water in it. Clean that area. Okay. Of course, it's got to be on the other side of the room when you need it. That chrome trim's actually really tough to get off too. Yeah, there's even some road tar down here on it. Still love that sound deadener. It's awesome. Alright. So, as you can see now, we're going to have to come all the way to this edge. Means I'm going to have to try to get this trim off, and it is not very fun to get off. It's actually really hard to get off because where it rusts in the back, the bolt holes are just like crusty. You don't want to let it loose. Yeah, but up under there is good. Yep, I think our cut's gonna be from about here up to, let me see, definitely to here, because that is a rust through, but it's not like this kind of rust through, so it's still got good metal around it. Yeah, like that. We'll probably just go all the way down to the bottom. We'll drill out the spot welds. So that way we can get the best amount we can get. Then I'll have to remake that whole piece. Because it ain't like you're finding these in junkyards. That's for sure. In fact, I've been about all the junkyards around here, and I can't find one. Now, I'd say if I was in New York or somewhere like that, it'd probably be pretty easy to find them because they're, you know, New York's cop cars. Around here, they had the Crown Vics, so another poor decision by Kentucky. I'm using the tape to create my straight lines. Because you definitely want real good straight lines when you go to make your own patch panel. At 91 paints thick. Alright. So I'm going to cut off, pop this trim off, maybe. And then I'll put it back on before I start making my cut. Spot welds on here too. So there's one here, and two on this side. I'm gonna have to take the tire off to get to the ones on this side. Actually, I can probably just cut right here to this line, which would probably be best. I think that's what I'll do. I'll cut right here along the line on this side. But you gotta get you a spot weld bit, which looks like this. See if I can get it in frame and focused on it. It won't focus on it. But it's like a butterfly. There's a small bit in front of it. Let me see if I can. There you go. That's it's basically, once it's dull, it's over. But they sell these kinds, like the drill bits, and they sell the kinds that has the center punch style on them. I like these ones. They cut real fast, last a while. That'll work. Ooh, that back part's a little... What is that? Okay, I know what that is. That's just the undercoating and stuff. That's fine. I can fix that back there easy. Yeah, I know that one's out. Now, the reason I'm not going crazy on this piece is because if you just start going at it real fast, you won't have the piece to remake, which is what I'm doing. I'm going to use this as my template, which is going to be easy because this right here is basically flat straight down on this edge, then rolls under and then lip. This is where, you know, it'll be a little bit more harder because all this starts to go more concave as it gets to this point, so these will be harder to do. This part is the only part really that's easy, and you know, back to front's easy. So now all I gotta do is cut it, which, let's see here, I'm gonna follow my tape lines. I'm gonna cut it right along this edge too, and that'll get rid of all the rust. Where's my cutoff wheel? Right here. Now's where the fun begins. You could use a body saw too. I just prefer to use, you know, the cutoff wheel. Baby death wheel. If everybody likes the death wheel. I'm not afraid of them. Like everybody else apparently is. For no reason. These parts right here, I'll probably use the body saw on. It's easier to get to. But I'm going to change position and stuff so I can cut the top. And then I'll have to cut this line from the opposite direction too. There it is. Remember, you don't want to force that out because that's your panel you're going to be making it off of. So. Now it comes straight down this line. Now tough part's going to be getting this bottom off without destroying this panel. This part of the panel, shall I say, not the whole panel. Yeah, that's crusty. I'm going to try to drill these out just a tad bit more if I can, because that's what's holding it in, I think. Oh yeah, it's got to be all that's holding it in. Is that a little bit of rivet? I mean, I can cut around the rivet and see if that rivet, it's the spot weld, cut around the spot weld and see if it comes off then, because there ain't no more spot welds in here that I can feel anyway. I doubt they're from behind, because usually no matter what there's a front and a back to them. This one right here is probably not cut out all the way for sure. This one's probably down in there a little bit, so let me switch back to the drill here. Of course, like usual, I put it a mile away. Hurry. And trust me, I'm not going to this length just because it's my car. If this was anybody's car I was working on, this is exactly how I would do it. Eliminate rust. Alright, that should be off, but I don't know. Yeah, there it comes. This side's off for sure. There we go. This side's still connected somewhere. And it is full of rust. Yeah, where's that one connected at still? That's not a spot weld. Just raining out of that thing. Still ain't got it. I don't understand why it ain't free yet. That $100 option ain't looking too bad right now, actually. You have to be a little bit harder to make this than using this piece, because I can see right now I'm not going to be able to use this piece now. Come on off there. Alright, let's screw it. Yeah, it's at bottom. Just a little bit of that bottom still connected on there. Let me see if I can't get my pry bar here. I'm sort of in a corner of a corner of a corner here. Where is it at? Okay, okay. So it is, there's a little corner still. That's how it is when you pull them spot welds. There's always that one little piece that hangs on. That's what it is too. It's like a 1/16 of an inch of it hanging on there. Alright, come on. Yeah, there you, if you can see it, right there's all it's holding, just that little bitty piece right here. There we go. There it is. Here you go. Look at that crap. It's toast on there. So that's off now. Scrape out all the garbage behind it. I think I know how it started now. Got a hole back there. No, it's not a hole. It's the seam sealers right here is what it is inside. Yeah, look at that seam sealer. It's toast. That right there is actually probably a piece of metal. Then again, they do have they did. I didn't say they do. It's like a seam sealer rope. Used to stuff back in there. This, even though it's crusty, it's actually pretty good shape. I can clean it. Then I'll have to remake it. I'll probably go get a can of rust converter. Convert all this back real nice. Spray up in here. Vacuum it out. What is that right there? It's just what it enters through. Now, why this has to be so good is that's the inside of the trunk. That's why it's got to be so good, weather tight. But double sure I'm in focus here. Yeah, there you go. Gotta get all this out. Make sure there's no the back side of it's not rotted out, which it's not. It's actually in pretty good shape. It's just where it nasty builds up and everything. But this, I'll dolly flat back again because it's real strong metal right here. It's actually what it is. There's a single piece here, and then it starts double overlapping right here to where now there's an inner skin for, I think it's the wheel well. So that'll be a part that I have to do for sure. This up in here, yeah, it's crusty, but I think it's still in good shape. And I'll get some, probably see if I can't get like a quart and a spray can, or if they sell pints, I'll get a pint of a rust converter, and I'll actually reach over and probably pour it down through here, through the quarter on that side. This side, there's a lot of garbage over in here. Still, I'm gonna have to vacuum that out. And then we'll try my best to reuse this piece, not weld it back in, but use it as a template. But it's really crusty. Really crusty. Actually, it's pretty good shape still. I can still use it to use as a template of how it goes and get close. There we go. Yeah, it's a pretty good template still. Bend that in more. Yeah. But that's what we got done for now, but I gotta get some rust converter and then convert that, vacuum out the inside. This actually, I don't know if it's that far down, but when I first got the car, I put rubberized undercoating inside the trunk. That was before, as you can hear, I got the sound deadener. It kills it. Which is when I found the rust hole when I was doing my sound deadening. But now, take this off, and then I'll find some steel, which this is, it looks to be 22 gauge. It's really thin, really thin. Yeah, 22 gauge for sure. Let me see. Yeah, 22 gauge. I got some of that. Then we'll make our panel. I'll show you how to do that next. Now that it's all vacuumed out, straighten this back out. That's just the loose stuff falling out of there now. Alright, that's gonna go back in the corner a little bit.
Train!
Alright, now that's straightened back out. I'm gonna hit it with the wire wheel to get all the loose rust off before I hit it with the rust converter. Alright, and now the rust converter I'm using is just cheap off-brand stuff. You know, stops rust without primer. So basically all it is the rust converter. I'm gonna shake well. Dogs kill me. Ooh, that's some thick stuff. For a second I thought you could hear it doing stuff. Yeah. Seems like it works pretty good. Goes on real thick. Now I'm going to let that dry. Then, while that's drying, I'm going to make my panel. Then before I put it on, I'll have to sand this back a little bit further. on them edges. This you don't need clean metal for, as long as this hole, that hole, is cleaned on the edges, so that way when you weld it heats through and then sticks to the piece from the back side, because I'm going to pinch weld it from the back side. You can do it from the front side if it don't blow through and you get just the front part off, but since this one's so bad, I'm probably going to weld it up, and then that crack right there you can see. And someday I'm probably going to cut this straight down and move it back to where this is straight. Why they went back toward the tire, I have no clue. That was kind of stupid. But that one will be later. Later. Alright, that's it for now, and I'm going to start working on the, that stuff's turning flat already, which I got this in flat, but yeah, it's doing pretty good. It's real thick. Alright, let's make the patch panel now. To start with making your own patch panel, you want to start with some construction paper or something like that, cardboard even, and we're just going to get the rough shape with it. Since this is bendable and pliable and cardboard it really isn't that bendable and pliable, that's what we'll start with. And this is just going to be rough because it's all you need. So the best thing I think you can do is, start with an edge where it's flat. Use a marker. Or mark it out. Then push it under with your hand and start working it around. Other side. It's a little bit difficult on my righty, so. Don't have to be perfect. This is a rough template. All the way to the edge and the edge. So now we have that. That's your rough. But in the rule of a patch panel, which I think if you're making your own, is add about 1/4 inch to 3/8 of an inch to it. This will give you room to move in case, something doesn't fit just right. You can move it around a little bit. Try to get it as straight as you can. A little wonkiness right there, but. And again, you might have to do this because whatever project you might be working on might not have patch panels available. Say, an old foreign car. Sometimes those panels aren't available. The less desirable cars too, they're not going to have patch panels available. Which, not to say that my Caprice is a less desirable car, but it's a less, what would you say, rusting car than everything else. Alright, then you'll end up with something like that. Now what you're going to want to do is cut that out, and that's your template. And if you haven't done this before, made your own templates and stuff for a patch panel, you might want to go a little bit bigger than 3/8. You can go 1/2 inch. I mean, it's all gonna come out eventually. But this is gonna help you save yourself from, you know, cutting 50 little pieces of metal to cover one hole. Something else you're going to want to do is mark top and bottom. So put a B and a T. That way you don't make the bend on the wrong side, because you made the bend down here. You just wasted that whole panel. So now, considering this is thin 22 gauge, I mean, it is thin stuff. I have some right here, and I'm going to cut it out of, and it's the same as anything else. Put your template on it. It's best, I prefer to do it closer to edges of stuff, so that way I can cut it easier, because it's easier to cut from an edge than it is from like something in the middle. I plan on using just a set of hand shears for this. So lay it out close to some corner, some edge of steel. Now I'm going to cut it, or well, I'm going to mark it with the marker again. Now if this was clean prep steel, I'd be using a paint marker or a chalk marker or even chalk to mark it out. But this is actually dryer steel. What I mean by that, it's not some kind of special auto body steel or nothing. It's actually part of a door off of a dryer. I mean, there's no point in going to get brand new 22 gauge sheet metal when you already have basically the same thing here, but this has a enamel coating on it that makes it hard. Alright, again, just rough shape. It don't have to be perfect because I still have 3/8 to cut off of it. Now I'm going to cut these out. Cut this out, not these. Cut this one out by hand. It's regular shears. Sheet metal working shears. If it'll get through. Ah, there it goes. They don't make a good set of these things anymore. These ones are about 15 years old, so let's see, go from the back side, might be a little easier. Just to get this first hole started. Yeah, there we go. And then the fight begins. Sometimes these don't even want to cut the way I'm doing it. They want to cut backwards, so there it goes. And again, you have, well, I have 3/8 of an inch to play with on it. So I'm not too worried about, you know, bad edges or whatnot. And this is why you usually cut from the edge, but since this is a fresh sheet, it makes it a little hard. So what you want to do is pop down the corners. See where the corner I cut? You push it in. It'll let you pull out the other side. To cut more, cut a little easier. Again, it's a fight. There it goes. Alright, let's see. This is where a bandsaw would come in fun. Real easy to do metal work like that. Ooh. And throatless shears. Don't have any of that stuff. Someday. It don't matter if it bends up a little bit on you, because you're still gonna have to straighten it out, do your bends again anyway. It's no big deal. But I'm gonna cut this and I'll turn it back on and we'll bend it.